I think that most clearly the payback, we were talking about creating a stable environment, making sure we understand change and control change, et cetera, et cetera. So the payback is, the fastest payback is really in application mapping, in the sense that if I understand the dependencies of an application on infrastructure, on other applications, on data, et cetera, then each time I change anything to that application, I can look at the consequences, understand the consequences. Okay.
And you're kind of having two impacts. You're sort of, you're as you said, you're getting a grip on where you are today and automating that, so you have more time to think intelligently about what you're doing. And also, you've got now the knowledge and the intelligence to sort of hit the problem at its source. So hit the problem in the change process, so that you don't lead to, hit this challenge, address this challenge in the change process, so you don't lead to more problems, which lead to more incidents, which lead to all these unplanned changes you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So,
it's really a vicious circle.
Yeah, so it's all about how to sort of break out of that. Yeah, so I mean, we've certainly found that trying to focus, or getting our clients to, and often we have to work with them to encourage them to do this, to focus on things that are going to deliver value in a short period of time. And we don't just encourage them to do that, we actively go in and help them come and do this. They're going to focus on some discrete value delivered in within 3 months, and get in there and do that is critical for them, because personally speaking, our success is totally dependent on the success of our clients. And so we want to make sure we can get to that first point where people put a tick in the box and they go, that's really delivered something to us. And then you're in a good position. There may be some more things you do together, maybe not, but that's been a successful engagement. And so we're constantly focused on that. Absolutely. And so indeed, I think, being able to understand where your business applications are and keep track of those and all of the interdependencies we've found as a successful starting point in terms of the time it takes to deliver stuff and to value to the business. But also, as you said, then is providing a stepping stone to any of these more medium to longer term projects or initiatives, like ITIL, like CMDB, like BSM.
Yeah. It's clear that if you look at, you go back to the nature of the process. What is a process? Okay, and you realize that a process is a sequence of operations, sequence of things that people do. You feed in some type of event or information, and then it gets transformed into by a step, and then it provides a result that feeds the next step, etc., etc. So each step of a process consumes resources, consumes information, etc., etc. Okay, and the fact that you have, or your ability to collect that information, transforms the process itself. Okay, so you're going after ITIL. Okay, and you look at incident and problem management, and of course, in the first step, you've got to identify the problem, you've got to be alerted, you've got to do a number of things. That's very dependent on whether you have an application map, whether you have a good monitoring capability, alerting capability, etc., etc. All these things are tied together with the process. You cannot do one without the other. So effectively, starting with knowledge as a foundation to processes and even tools that the processes will be using, gives you a very, not only the foundation, not only quick results, but also the ability to go successfully through the project.
It makes total sense. We absolutely built Tideway on that premise that getting the right intelligence, the right data in the hands of individuals and other management systems is the starting point for actually changing the whole way in which the IT department operates, letting it in many respects industrialize, grow up, work out what processes it needs to have in place. Everybody get more proactive and stop running around with their hair on fire. And so that was what we kind of built the company around, and it was inspired for us by an original parallel between our experience in the telecoms world, where those are businesses that live and die and from the early 2000s, some of them were dying on the basis of delivering, attractive services reliably and cost-effectively on a complex distributed computing environment. It was complex and distributed enough when it was the PSTN telecoms network. Historically, it became even more complex and diverse when it became the IP network. And they concluded very clearly during the 90s especially that understanding that logical and physical picture of that computing environment, the inventory as they called it, but in the enterprise it'd be called more the runtime configuration and the business applications, that's what's key. If you get that right, you can look to both have better processes, manual processes, but also build this integrated suite of management applications that all are singing off the same hymn page. They're all working to help automate the same IT factory. So it's very good to hear you say that's the kind of underpins it all, because that's exactly where we came from when we built not just the product but the company.